The thing beneath the lake. I used to think there was nothing more peaceful than a lake house. The still water, the breeze through pine trees, the distant hoot of an owl. All of it used to calm me. That was before I stayed in my uncle's old lake house alone. He left it to me after disappearing last summer. No body, no note. Just his fishing boat drifting in circles on the water, oars untouched. The police gave up. Everyone assumed he drowned, but he was an expert swimmer. I never bought that. So last weekend, I decided to stay there just for a night. I needed closure. I needed to see it myself. The first weird thing was the smell. Not rotten exactly, but thick, like algae mixed with metal. And the house creaked constantly, like it was adjusting to something that wasn't there. Or maybe something was. I found his journal in the upstairs bedroom. The last few pages were off. Scribbles, drawings of something with long arms and no eyes, and a repeated line, "It calls from under." I figured it was just the ramblings of someone losing it. Until night fell. The lake was different after dark. It didn't reflect the stars like it should have. It was black, like a hole. Around 1 a.m., I heard splashing. Not the gentle kind. Something big was moving out there. I turned off all the lights and stood at the window. There was a shape, pale, humanoid but wrong, its arms too long dragging behind it as it climbed onto the dock. It didn't walk. It sort of pulled itself. I backed away from the window and hid in the kitchen, heart pounding. Minutes passed. Silence, then a wet, dragging sound on the floorboards inside the house. I grabbed a knife. It was the only thing I had. I could hear breathing, slow, wet. Then a voice, my uncle's voice, whispered from the hallway. "It's cold. Down there. Don't fight it." I ran. I don't remember choosing to. My body just reacted. I bolted out the back door and into the woods, barefoot, bleeding, too scared to look back. But I heard it. It wasn't chasing me. It was laughing. I don't know how I got back to my car, or how I drove through the trees. But I made it out. I called the police the next morning. They checked. The house was empty, but the dock was gone, torn apart like something rose through it. I'm never going back. But I still hear the water sometimes in my dreams, and that dragging sound on wood. Something lives in that lake, and it's still calling. Reflections in the water. I've always been uneasy around mirrors. Even as a kid, I hated the way they watched, like they weren't showing me myself, just something pretending to be me. So, when my girlfriend Claire invited me to her family's old lake house for the week, I hesitated. Not because of the mirrors, I didn't even know about them yet. I just had a bad feeling. One of those quiet, gnawing instincts you can't explain. But I went anyway. The house was deep in the woods, right on the shore of a still, black lake, the kind of water that didn't ripple unless something moved beneath it. I remember thinking the house looked like it had held its breath for decades. Everything was frozen in time. Dust on the windowsills, yellowed curtains, a smell like damp wood and secrets. Claire's family hadn't been back in years. Her grandmother died there, alone. The first night was normal enough. We drank wine on the porch, listened to loons crying across the water. The stars reflected perfectly in the lake. That was the first strange thing I noticed, how still the surface was. No fish, no bugs, not even wind, just black glass. Inside, the walls were lined with mirrors, big old ones with warped glass and silver frames, one in nearly every room. Claire didn't seem bothered by them. Said her grandmother was obsessed with reflections, claimed they were thin spots. I laughed it off, until I looked into one of them. I was brushing my teeth before bed, staring absently into the bathroom mirror. My reflection didn't blink when I did. Not immediately. There was a delay, maybe half a second, just long enough for my stomach to drop. I told myself it was my imagination, bad lighting, old glass. But as the night wore on, I couldn't shake the feeling that I wasn't alone. At 3:12 a.m., I woke up suddenly. No sound, no reason, just that same gnawing sense that something was off. Claire was asleep beside me. I glanced around the bedroom. My eyes landed on the standing mirror in the corner. There was something in it. Not a reflection, something behind the glass. It was like looking into deep water, something moving just out of sight. The room behind me was still and quiet, but in the mirror a shape shifted. I sat up, holding my breath. I told myself not to go to it, but my legs moved on their own. I stood in front of the mirror. My reflection looked normal, but the air around it shimmered like heat rising off pavement. And its eyes, my eyes, were too wide, too dark. It was smiling. I wasn't. Then it mouthed something. I couldn't hear it. Just saw the lips move. "Let me in." I jumped back. My pulse was racing. I grabbed a towel and threw it over the mirror. The next morning, I asked Claire about her grandmother, what kind of woman she was. She hesitated, then told me something that chilled me to the bone. She believed that reflections were doors, she said, that sometimes if a person spent too long looking into one, something on the other side could take their place. I asked if her grandmother ever claimed anything, had. Claire didn't answer. That night I couldn't sleep. I kept hearing creaks in the hallway, like someone walking slowly back and forth. Claire slept like the dead, but I was frozen with my eyes on the mirror again, covered now with a towel. I swore I saw the shape of a hand press through the fabric from inside the glass. At 2:47 a.m., I finally got up. I couldn't take it anymore. I went downstairs, pacing, trying to shake the fear. That's when I saw the back door wide open. A breeze came in off the lake, cold and sharp. I stepped out onto the porch. There was a figure standing on the dock. I thought it was Claire at first, same height, same hair. But as I got closer, my heart sank. It turned. Its face was mine. Not exactly. Its skin was pale and too smooth, its eyes too wide and black. Hollow, like something that had studied me and gotten it almost right. It grinned. I ran. I slammed the door shut, locked every window. I woke Claire, told her we had to leave. She thought I was having a breakdown. Maybe I was. But then she looked into the mirror in the hallway, and she froze. I saw her reflection behind her, only it wasn't doing what she was. It tilted its head, smiled, and then it raised a hand. She didn't. She screamed. We left that night, haven't gone back. We stayed in a motel until daylight. I didn't sleep, just sat staring at the mirror on the closet door, waiting for something to blink the wrong way. Somewhere back in that lake house, those mirrors are still standing, still waiting. Sometimes I dream about standing on that dock, looking into the water, and the face staring back isn't mine. Not anymore. The sound beneath the floorboards. The lake house belonged to my brother. He bought it cheap, too cheap, on Stillwater Lake. Said the last owner died there of natural causes. We went up together to renovate it. From the moment I walked in, I hated the place. The air buzzed when it was quiet. The floorboards creaked in odd, rhythmic ways. And the basement. God, the basement. The first night, I woke up around 2 a.m. to a soft thud. Thud. Drag. It sounded like something heavy sliding across the hallway outside my room. I opened the door. Empty. My brother's room was untouched, bed perfectly made. I called his name. No answer. A thought hit me. The basement. The door was cold. When I opened it, a wave of damp, metallic-smelling air hit me. I flipped the switch. Nothing. It was pitch black. Then, from below, Splash. Not footsteps. Something moving through water. I slammed the door and didn't sleep. In the morning, the lake outside was too still, like black glass. On the dock were muddy footprints, bare and human, leading from the lake to the house. My brother never came back. The police searched. Nothing. They suggested he wandered into the woods, but the drag marks on the floor near the basement told a different story. I left. That night, alone in a motel, I woke up to the sound of dripping. The bathroom tub was full, stagnant lake water, black and murky. Floating just beneath the surface was a pale hand. When I blinked, it was gone. But above me, I heard it again. Thud, drag, thud, drag. Something crawling on the ceiling. I learned later the lake used to be deeper. A mine collapsed beneath it years ago. Locals say it opened something down there. They say the water listens. I believe them now, because sometimes at night I still hear those sounds, and I know my brother never left the house. The lake took him, and it's not finished.